You're still the
Get off my stage.
But we want to get all of this finished. This is a great tribute. What we're announcing today is a tremendous tribute to equality. We're bringing our jobs back. You know, when we had our tremendous numbers and when we had just prior to the China plague that floated in, we had numbers the best in history for African American, for Hispanic American, and for Asian American, and for everybody. Best for women, best for people without a diploma, young people without a diploma. I mean, so many different categories. Our numbers were the best in almost every category. We had the most people working in the history of our country, almost 160 million people. We were never even close to that. So we had things that we were doing so well, and then it came in, but we're going to be back there. I think we're going to actually be back higher next year than ever before. And the only thing that can stop us is bad policy. Frankly, left-wing, bad policy of raising taxes and Green New Deals and all of the things that you have been writing about long and hard. That will stop it like you wouldn't believe. And frankly, it's holding it back. If there were no possibility that that can happen, and I like to be an optimistic person, I think we're looking very good. I think even before today, our polls were, the polls that I've seen and the polls that we do were looking very good. But if we didn't have the possibility of having massively higher taxes like the Democrats want to do, and Green New Deals, which are totally ridiculous, frankly, ridiculous, and I'm a big environmentalist. I believe strongly in taking care of our environment. We have the cleanest air we've ever had, like over the modern era, which let's say you go back 30 years. We have the cleanest air, the cleanest water we've ever had. We're setting all sorts of really good environmental records. We're very proud of that. But the Green New Deal would kill our country. The Green New Deal would have a devastating effect on the world. And it's not going to happen anyway because it's impossible for them to do it. If you ever look at what they want to do under the Green New Deal, it's like baby talk. But we are doing something that this was an important day because this shows that what we've been doing is right. And the reason it's been and is so good is because the body was strong. Our body was so powerful that we could actually close our country, save millions of lives, stop people very early on from China from coming in, because we stopped early, at the end of January, very early, people coming from China who were infected coming into our country. It was a very hard decision to make. Almost nobody wanted me to make it. I would almost say nobody wanted me to make it. But we made that decision, and even my enemy said that was an extremely important. We saved tens of thousands of lives with that decision. So we did a lot of things, and then we really ended up with empty cupboards. We went into a ventilator period that the likes of which nobody's seen since the Second World War. We mobilized. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And then we did tests. We're over 20 million, or very close, but I think we're over 20 million tests, more than anybody in the world. Germany is at about at 4, and South Korea is at 3.5. We're over 20. And by the way, when you do more testing, you have more cases. We have more cases than anybody because we do more testing than anybody. It's pretty simple. But this is outstanding what's happened today. Now, they thought the number would be a loss of 9 million jobs, and it was a gain of almost 3 million jobs. Nobody's ever seen anything. I think it was incredible in a couple of ways. Number one, the numbers are great, and this leads us on to a long period of growth. We'll go back to having the greatest economy anywhere in the world, nothing close. And I think we're going to have a very good upcoming few months. I think you're going to have a very good August, very good July, but a spectacular, maybe spectacular September, but a spectacular October, November, December, and next year is going to be one of the best years we've ever had economically. And if you look at the numbers, they bear it out. But we were strong. It's sort of like when you go in for an operation, if a person is healthy, we were healthy. We had the greatest economy in the world. We went in for an operation. We closed our country down. We closed it down. We saved possibly 2 million, 2.5 million lives. Now, it could have been 1 million lives. I don't think anything less than that. But if you think we're at 105 million today, the 105,000 today, that would mean at the lowest number, it would be 10 times that amount. And I think everybody believes the least, if we went herd, as they say. And if you look at Brazil, they're having a very hard time. And by the way, they kept bringing up Sweden. It's come back to haunt Sweden. Sweden's having a terrible time. If we did that, we would have lost 1 million, 1.5 million, maybe even 2.5 million or more lives. So we're at 105,000 lives. Big move closing it up. We also closed it up to Europe. Europe became very infected from China. A gift from China, not good. They should have stopped it. They should have stopped it at the source. But it's a gift from China and a very bad gift. I will tell you that. And you do say, how come at Wuhan, where it started, and they were they were in bad trouble, but it didn't go to any other parts. It didn't go to Beijing. It didn't go to other parts of China. Then you say, how come it came out to Europe, to the world, to the United States? So it didn't go to China. They stopped it cold. They knew it was a problem. But they didn't stop it cold from coming to the United States, Europe, and the rest of the world. Somebody has to ask these questions, and we'll get down to the answer. You know, we made a great trade deal. Great. They're going to buy $250 billion worth of product. And by the way, they are online. They're doing okay. But the ink wasn't dry on that deal when the plague floated in. What's going on? A plague is floating in from China. What's going on? So the ink wasn't dry. So I guess I view the trade deal a little bit differently than I did 3 months ago. It's a great deal. I will say they are buying a lot from us, and in that way I respect. And getting along with China would be a good thing. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'll let you know. We'll let you know. I think they want to get along very much with us. But we built a tremendous thing, a tremendous power platform. So when it got ill, when we had a problem, we were able to cut it off, stop it, just like this. Stop it. Keep everyone inside. Keep them away. Keep them together, away, uninfected. And we saved millions of lives. And now we're opening, and we're opening with a bang. And we've been talking about the V. This is better than a V. This is a rocket ship. This is far better than a V. A V is wonderful. A V is this. They were talking about, will it be a V, a U, an L? They had no idea. And I was watching one of the shows, and I have great respect for the people. And they said, will it be 9 million in job losses? Will it be, what will be the number be? Will it be, are they going to report record numbers? Will we break 20%? What will the number be? And, you know, I don't know, because we were in, and I don't think we're in that territory anymore, we were in uncharted territory. Nobody's ever had a situation like that. So the number was 9 million, and one of the people was getting, no, I think it's going to be 10 million. That's 10 million negative losses. And then somebody else said, no, we think it's going to be 8.7. 9.2, everyone was right around that number. This is great geniuses, and they are. I watch them all the time, and oftentimes they're right. Warren Buffett sold airlines a little while ago. He's been right his whole life, but sometimes even somebody like Warren Buffett, I have a lot of respect for him, they make mistakes. They should have kept the airline stocks, because the airline stocks went through the roof today, and others did too. The whole market went through the roof. But they said 9 million. Job losses, 9 million. It's what's going to be. Are we going to break 20%? Are we going to break it? And then the numbers came in, and one of the folks that was reading the numbers said, wow, this is a great number. It's only 3 million job losses. And then reading it and said, you know, I don't think this, I'm not reading this right. Let me look at it again. Oh, wait a minute. This is 3 million gain almost. 3 million jobs gained. And then they shouted out, one of them sort of semi-shouted out, is this a typo? I think it was probably the greatest miscalculation in the history of business shows, talking about Wall Street. And that's okay. But one of the reasons we're in this position is because we had such a strong foundation. So we were able to close our country, save millions of lives, open, and now the trajectory is great. Don't forget, New York is barely included, and that's one of our big ones. California is barely included because they're not open, and they should open. By the way, the mayor of Los Angeles wants to keep this thing closed for a long time. Look at what's going on in Florida. It's incredible. The job the governor of Florida has done, it's incredible. The numbers they're doing. You've got to open it up, and you do social distancing, and you wear masks if you want, and you do things. You can do a lot of things. You're getting closer together. Even you, I notice you're starting to get much closer together. It looks much better, I must say. You're not all the way there yet, but you'll be there soon. But it's a tremendous thing that happened, and the reason it happened is because we had a really strong patient. We had a patient that was so powerful, so strong, that we could close it and open it. And I give it this analogy. Somebody told me yesterday, it was Larry Kudlow. He said, sir, this is like a hurricane. And we were worried. We didn't know, is this going to be a hurricane or a major, major recession? A major recession that's not artificially caused, because this was artificially closed. We just said, boom, closed. And everything just stopped. And also, you know what else stopped? Big numbers on death by doing it. And that's why I had to do it. We've made every decision correctly. But it was like we stopped. So it was an artificial closing. And then what happened, very incredibly, is the numbers go, and Larry was saying that with a hurricane, you have a horrible hurricane in Florida or Texas, and it's devastating. And then the hurricane goes away, and within 2 hours, everyone's rebuilding and fixing and cleaning and cutting their grass. And I've seen it in Texas. I've seen it everywhere. I've seen it everywhere. Texas had a massive one, Louisiana, hurricanes, Florida, hurricanes. But what happens is right after the hurricane, boom, and this is what this is. This isn't a terrible recession. I don't even mention the D word. I don't talk about the D word. I don't want to talk about it. Because every time somebody even mentions it, I don't like the D word. But if you had a really, really big, bad recession, it could take 10, 12. How long did it take? In 1929, it took many years to recover from that. How long? 10 years. Yeah, 10. I heard 10. I think longer than 10, but that's okay. I heard 14, 15 years. Larry says 10, so let's go with 10. But it takes a long time to recover. But a hurricane, you're back in business in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and it's devastating and it's hard. And this was a hurricane. And it's going to get better fast, because a lot of the numbers that you see, they're early numbers. They're not even from this last month. And by the way, speaking of that, you had the greatest 50-day rally in the history of our exchanges. The greatest 50-day rally. And we have a lot of protesters. And we have something else, right? We have something else. We have a pandemic. We've made tremendous progress, really on both. If you look at where we've come on both, we've made tremendous progress on both. Tremendous progress. But you're looking, and the people are now starting to return to work. So it's been an incredible thing to see. It's been a beautiful thing to see. The experts predicted that the economy would lose tremendous numbers of jobs. And, of course, from the beginning it has, but you're going to see how fast that's made up. I'm telling you, next year, unless something happens where the wrong people get in here, this can turn around. Your 401ks will go down to numbers. If people didn't get rid of stocks in their 401ks, they're almost even. Think of it. With a pandemic and with one of the worst things that's ever happened, our country's never lost 105,000 people. Whether it's World Trade Center, which was 2,900, or Pearl Harbor, which was less than that. We've never lost anything close to this. But it's not only our country, it's the whole world. The world is suffering so badly. 186 countries at this moment. And that affects us, too. But we're a positive force. We're the key to the world, in a sense. And the fact that we're doing well, I see already they're starting to do much better in other parts of the world. That's a great thing, because we're working with the world. And we'll work with China, too. We'll work with everybody. But what happened should have never happened. So we had a tremendous morning, a tremendous announcement. It was shocking to even great pros. I watched Maria Bartiromo. I watched Jim Cramer. I watched a lot of people. Joe Kiernan, he was pretty positive. Charles Payne, he was very positive for a long time. A lot of people got it right. They had confidence in me, they had confidence in this team, and they got it right. I think that's the only thing they could base it on, because we were on uncharted territory. I'd like to just say that renewal, restoration, and recovery of the most vulnerable areas of America is going to be my focus. It's going to be a big focus, because it's taking care of itself, but we have to help that very vulnerable area. They're vulnerable. It's not right, and we're helping them, and we have helped them in the past, and we're also to opportunity zones, criminal justice reform. Nobody's ever done for the black community what President Trump has done. Think of it. Historically black small colleges and universities, they would come here for money every year for many, many years. After 3 years, I said, why are you doing this? Why do you keep coming here? They said, because we come. I said, don't you get a long-term deal so you don't have to come? The head of one of the very respected colleges looked at me and said, sir, we're like beggars. Every year we have to come to Washington and beg for money. I said, you should have a long-term deal. And we signed a long-term deal, so they don't have to come. I'll miss them. I told him, I'll miss them. I got to know them. But the first year, I didn't think anything of it. The second year, I said, that's strange. Why are you here? And then the third year, not so long ago, same people, the heads of the historically black small colleges and universities, 44 people, maybe a little more than that, a little less than that sometimes. But after 3 years, I said, what are you doing? They said, the past administration did nothing for us. The administration before that did nothing for that. So I'm going to do it. So we did the opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott, who's been fantastic. And by the way, it's one of the great unknowns, because the opportunity zones, you don't talk about it. It's one of the most incredible success stories ever in terms of the inner cities and in terms of black and Hispanic and Asian unemployment. Opportunity zones, you ought to do some stories about opportunity zones. Billions and billions of dollars of private money are being invested in putting people to work and getting money that they've never made before. So it's been really a terrific thing. It's now time for us to work together as we rebuild, renew, and recover the great promise of America. And that's true. We're going to work together. It'll all work out. It'll all work out. Some governors may need a little help yet, but I think for the most part they're in good shape. We have fantastic military. We have fantastic National Guard. National Guard was barely used. And these people have done an unbelievable job. They helped the Secret Service at Washington. Secret Service, by the way, are unbelievable. The job they did at the White House is unbelievable. There was never any form of like, oh, gee, this sounds dangerous. All I could see is what I was seeing on television. But they were outside, and the Secret Service was incredible. But we were also helped by the D.C. police, and we were helped by the National Guard. Was unbelievable. They came in, and this was like a piece of cake. And I really am suggesting, because if you look at Minnesota and the great success we had there and other places, I'm suggesting to some of these governors that are too proud in New York. I mean, you see what's going on there. Don't be proud. Get the job done. You'll end up looking much better in the end. Call in the National Guard. Call me. We'll have so many people, more people than you. Have to dominate the streets. You can't let what's happening happen. It's called dominate the streets. You can't let that happen in New York, where they're breaking into stores and all of the things. And by the way, hurting many small businesses. You can't let it happen. Equal justice under the law must mean that every American receives equal treatment in every encounter with law enforcement, regardless of race, color, gender, or creed. They have to receive fair treatment from law enforcement. They have to receive it. We all saw what happened last week. We can't let that happen. Hopefully George is looking down right now and saying, there's a great thing that's happening for our country. There's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody. This is a great day for everybody. This is a great, great day in terms of equality. It's really what our Constitution requires, and it's what our country is all about. I just want to finish by saying, to save the economy, we passed several pieces of critical legislation, totaling many trillions of dollars, meaning three. We're set up to do more if we want. I think we should, because we are dominant. For many years, as a bystander, but somebody that loved government, somebody that loved this country, I would watch and study and see, and just, when I say study, naturally study by watching. But if you go back, China was going to catch us in 2019. And that was like a given. You go back 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. It was always, yeah, China will catch America, catch the United States, and in 2019, and then it'll become the dominant economy. Never happened. It's not going to happen. We dominated them over the last year and a half, 2 years. We took in tens of billions of dollars in tariffs that they paid for. I gave some of that money, just a small fraction, to our farmers, which made them whole, more than whole. That's why they're all in business. Made them more than whole, and it came right out of the tariff money. And the reason we didn't pay is because China devalued their currency, and they paid. Plus, they also put additional money to it. Because if they didn't do that, nobody would have bought their product. We made a great deal because of that. That's the only reason we're able to make a good deal, because of the possibility of tariffs. Because China has taken tremendous advantage of the United States. We helped rebuild China. We gave them $500 billion a year. How stupid are the people that represented our country with China and many other countries? But that's all changing. And it was in the process of changing very big. Again, China had a very bad year before the plague. And now I think hopefully they're going to have a great year. I want them to have a great year, but we're going to have better years than they ever had. We have a better system, much better system. We made Americans sure of themselves, and we took care of families. We gave benefits, and we sent $1,200 to every individual making less than $75,000, and $4,000 almost dollars to every family of four earning less than $150,000. That's a lot, isn't it? When you think 150, but that's what's happening with our country. If you look at other countries, even countries that you think they're doing well, they don't talk about 150,000 as being median. $150,000. That's tremendous. That's a great tribute to the people of our country. The job surge that we're seeing right now is widespread. Leisure and hospitality added 1.2 million jobs. Construction jobs are up. Listen to this, 464,000. Education and health services rose 424,000. Retail trade is up 368,000. And here's the one I like the best. Remember, previous administration, that you need a magic wand for manufacturing. Manufacturing, which we had up to 600,000 jobs prior to the plague, manufacturing rose to 225,000 jobs, up by. So we picked up 225,000 manufacturing jobs. That's very unexpected. Everything that you've seen this morning is unexpected. Even the pros sitting here would understand that, everything. We also smashed expectations on the unemployment rate. The prediction was that the unemployment rate would rise to over 20%, and instead it dropped to around a little more than 13%, slight difference. And this time, the greatest comeback in American history. Today is probably, if you think of it, the greatest comeback in American history. But it's not going to stop here. It's going to keep going because so many places are closed. I was watching our great vice president today being interviewed on CNBC. He did a phenomenal job, and he made a statement. He said, this is not going to stop, and 100%. He's always attributing everything to me, but I'll attribute this statement to him. He said, it's not going to stop because the numbers that you're looking at don't include all of those states that are closed. They haven't even opened yet. We're going to be stronger than we were when we were riding high. And our stock market is it's just short of an all-time high. I've had 144 all-time high stock markets during a 3.5-year period. Nobody's ever come close to that. And we're going to do it again. But it's going to be even stronger than last time. When I would say that to you 2-3 months ago, I could see what's happened. I have a good feel. I've always done well with numbers, but I had a feel for it. I said it even the other day. I was saying I think we're going to have a tremendous next year. I think it's going to be a phenomenal next year. I didn't know it would start this quickly. I thought we'd start in August, September, but it started very early. Amazing. It's an amazing thing, but it means that they're likely to return, and all of these jobs that we're talking about now aren't even included because some of our biggest places aren't opened. They're opening up now. I think New York's opening up like as of today, and that's one of our big ones. New Jersey. They're all working hard. The governors are all working hard. To save millions of American lives, we took that unnecessary evil, we took it out of the equation. We had to do what we did. We had a very, very strong push not to do anything. We would have lost so many people. But very importantly, the economy wouldn't have been as good as it is because nobody expected this. I don't think there's anybody sitting here that can say, I want to see it on tape, as opposed to just say, oh, I did that. But some were predicting pretty good numbers, people I mentioned. But we took a tremendous step and a tremendous risk. And we've gone up at a level, and this level is going to be nothing compared to what you see in coming months, and especially next year. So the best strategy to ensure the health of our people moving forward is to focus our resources on protecting high-risk populations like the elderly and those in nursing homes, while allowing younger and healthy Americans to get back to work immediately, and open up our schools, open them up. We understand this disease now. We didn't understand it. Nobody's ever seen it before. It's very tough, very contagious, very mean to certain people. We've learned a lot. We didn't know. Nobody knew anything about it. But we learned a lot. And I have to thank everybody for working so hard. Jared and Mike and the task force and all of the people, the admiral, the general. They were saying, oh, you should use admirals. I said, I did.